Hi, I'm Jessica.
I'm Emmalynn.
And today we are going to be sharing with you our blind TBR. So we thought it would be fun to pick about 6 books and have some people in our lives pick them for us. Pick our TBR for us. So I sent a stack of 6 books to my husband and then let my younger daughter Ellie look at them, and they each picked one. And then what did you do?
I had my younger sister pick one of the books or pick. I gave her another option, which I'll talk about later because she's been begging me to read it. This is the only chance she has. And then I sent the picture to my boyfriend. It was like, okay, just based on the covers.
Actually, we just showed the spines. Or I did.
I didn't.
I just sent the spines.
I knew he'd ask what it looks like, so I just sent the covers.
Okay, so I'll insert a picture here, or Emmalynn can, of the 6 books that I sent to my husband. But just really quickly, they are The Winter People, One Dark Window, Wishtress, The Lost Melody, See Me Forgotten, and What Lies in the Woods. So I knew what he would pick before I even got his response. And he picked What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. And he said, the reason for picking this book is because, and I quote, the title seems intriguing, I guess.
My man's only reads war books.
Yeah, just
like,
any war books. And nonfiction.
And so nonfiction is...
I knew he would pick this because, okay, so like this is all he saw. It's dark in color. He likes to wear black a lot. Or any gray, neutral. And so I figured he would pick this one. The 3 above it, he said, this looked the most intriguing, I guess. Especially compared to the 3 above it. Which, I guess they probably did seem kind of girly, so he picked this one. But this is by Kate Alice Marshall. This is, I think, her first ever adult book. And I read her last book that came out before this, which was, what's it called? These Fleeting Shadows, and I hated it. I hated it so hard, and I would have DNF'd. Yes, I would have DNF'd it, but I had just bought it like brand new right when it came out, so I felt like it would be a waste of money to not finish it, and I did, and I did not like it. So I'm hoping this is a redemption of sorts for her. I do have one of her other books that I hear is more like raved about, I guess. So I will pick that up eventually too, but yeah, that's What Lies in the Woods. Should I say what it's about briefly? I'll just read this one tagline. It says, they were 11 when they sent a killer to prison. They were heroes, but they were liars. Also check
out our February TBR video.
Yeah, we talk about that.
For a more in-depth synopsis of all these books. But
that's true.
This is an adult thriller.
Yep.
Also,
it was a book of the month for January.
If there's background noise, excuse my rabbit child.
Yeah, she's sprawling.
I can't control her whatsoever.
Okay, so which one did Bridger pick for you?
Okay, so my boyfriend picked Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young, and I got so lucky with this. I was so hoping he would pick this book because this duology is the only books by Adrienne Young that I have not read. And I sent him a picture of all the books, and I was like gonna type out like, okay, this is this genre, this is this genre. Let's put more work into it than you did. But before I could even say that, he said Sky in the Deep, definitely. I said, okay. He said it has an axe, that's how you know it's good. Plus Sky in the Deep, the opposing concepts in one title, of course. Which is like, how did you think of all of that in the span of 30 seconds? I don't know.
That's quite like a intellectual response to a
cover of a book.
Yeah. Don't know anything.
And he doesn't read anything at all unless it's like for school, so he kind of surprised me with that one. But I'm super excited to read this. Like,
it's really good.
Viking vibes, lost brother, thought he was dead. She sees him fighting for the enemy. Lost as in his soul.
Yeah.
What is wrong with you? Yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about that one, because I really don't know much, and I love going and knowing nothing, especially with her books, because the world building never disappoints.
Okay, so then with the remaining stack, my younger daughter Ellie, she actually read the back of each book before she made her decision, and she chose The Winter People by Jennifer McMahon. I've not read anything by Jennifer McMahon before, but I have wanted to pick this up for a while, so this will finally make me do it. This is like a dual timeline, like mother and daughter die in the past, a family moves to that family's home later on, kind of history repeats itself. One of the daughters trying to find her mom finds these previous owners' diary. Hopefully that will help her like uncover this mystery. Maybe. We'll see. But it gives the village vibes, and we're all about those village vibes.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I forgot to say, my 6 books were Graceling, Sky in the Deep, Where Dreams Descend, The American Heiress, let's see what else, Truly Devious, and Belladonna. And I was telling my sister, I was like, okay, here's all these books, and you can pick one of those. But I will give you the option. If you want me to, I'll read Divergent. And she was like, obviously. Divergent immediately. She is not a reader, really, but she started reading this series, and I told her, I was like, you just haven't found your book yet.
Yep.
It is like a soulmate, okay?
Also, we've
book.
We've tried to force her to read so many things. I feel like she's just
Stubborn.
Rebelled against us and was like, I'm not gonna read what you want me to read. I'm gonna find something for myself. And this was it.
Which is kind of funny because the books that got me into reading were The Hunger Games, and that was only like 3 years ago. So me reading The Hunger Games in 2020, like just now discovering these dystopian novels is what got me to that. So I have high hopes for her. But I'm like, okay, you've been nagging me to read this book, and it's like the only start of a series you've read. And I've been telling you to read things for a really long time, and you just reject it. So I'm hoping maybe I can...
She's doing some reverse psychology.
I'm going to try to get her to read something I want after this.
Or pull like an IOU thing. Like make her read one that you want to know.
But I can tell you a little secret. I've already read 60 pages. Because I just needed to know. I just needed to like push through this wall. And we just haven't had the time to start the intro for this video, and I just needed to know. And so far, I mean, it's pretty good. I've seen all the movies except the last part of the last movie because I just got so bored I kept falling asleep. I'm not gonna lie, but so far it's pretty similar. I know she said a lot of things are different as you get into it more. There's been a few cringy scenes. I'm homeschooled, so I can say this, but I've been like, oh my gosh, girl, are you homeschooled, but you like think you're so cool and quirky? Like, I don't understand. But other than that, it's been fine. It's a dystopian novel. I don't have like extremely high expectations. It's not, you know, Jane Austen or Shakespeare kind of writing.
Yeah. And I think I've read like 35-ish pages of this. And I really have enjoyed the writing so far. I thought it was going to be like a little bit hard to get into, but it kind of reminds me, I don't know why, maybe just like the setting, but it kind of reminds me of Kristen Hanna's The Four Winds, just because of like, that's set in kind of like a prairie remote location, and so is this book. So, yeah, I mean, this book takes place in Vermont, but they're like very secluded from just any like community. Where they live is kind of thought to be like a bad omen of sorts. So I don't know, but I really am enjoying it, and I think I can fly through it pretty quickly. So now that I've made this video, I can keep going.
So we're gonna go start our books.
Because we haven't read any at all.
No.
We're just waiting to do this before we do that.
So, comment down below if you're at this point, if you have read any of these books. Did you ever have a dystopian era? Did you fall into the trap? Because I'm still falling.
Yeah. And if you have any, like, good dystopian books that you've enjoyed other than The Hunger Games, or
like, new books that are still dystopian, because it's just such a shame they don't make them anymore.
Yeah.
Because I really like that kind of futuristic.
But I feel like
easy
if
to
we
read.
want Ellie to keep reading, we gotta keep finding some dystopian books.
Yeah.
So
help us out.
Help
Is
us out. Let
Shadow
us
Me worth it?
we've not read that, so let us know if it's a good time.
All the questions. Let's get into it.
Let's talk about the fact that we're wearing the same thing and we didn't even realize it. That's fine. Did not plan it at all.
Totally fine.
I'm cool. You're warm.
I was dressed first.
You were, but I didn't know.
I get out of here.
Anyways, we're here for reading update. We're both about 100-ish pages in.
Our dog child is trying to be the center of attention.
So I will just give you my thoughts so far. So first of all, let me just say I was reading this last night, and Emmalynn was sitting in here with me, and I was like, oh my gosh, out loud, because something in this book happens that is super creepy, right up the front, right up front.
It's only 8:30.
And I was like, great, I'm probably not going to be able to sleep tonight. And then I proceeded to read some more. But it's fine, I slept fine. But I was sitting downstairs reading this by myself. My husband's out of town, and I just told Emmalynn, like, listen, you either need to come downstairs and sit in the same room as me while I read this, or I'm going to my room, because our living room downstairs has way too many windows, and I just feel super exposed whilst I'm scared reading this. So we gotta figure something out. But it's very interesting. The multiple timeline, or it's more than dual timeline. Well, one of the characters, you don't know what time they're in yet. Maybe it's present day too. So it's like the POV of two different present day characters and then one from the past. But it's not hard to keep up with. But it's very, very interesting, but very creepy. So,
okay. My dog just slobbered on this book. I'm not going to tell my sister. I'm 21% of the way through Divergent, which is 104 pages in. I only read about 40 pages last night because I was just super tired and could not read anymore. So far, so good.
so good or so good? Like
so good.
Like mid good?
Yeah. It's just, it is what it is right now. I'm not like, this is my everything, but it's not like horrible, you know?
But it's easy to read.
Yeah,
right?
it's very easy to read.
And pretty fast paced.
Yeah, I think the writing style makes it seem fast paced too, because it's mostly dialogue. And if it is descriptions, it's not like lyrical necessarily. So I'd say, I guess that's nice for the length of the book, being almost 500 pages. At least it's not super like bogged down writing. Nothing is super bothering me about it, but there's also nothing that like I love this. The one thing is, I mean, everyone knows she's a total pick-me, and so that's a little like, ugh. It's hard to stand, like just.
But she was like a pick-me before pick-me was a thing,
right? Which
like
is
a OG.
Yeah. She is the example of pick-me.
She's what it was made after.
Yeah. But other than that, you know, it's going all right. I'm ready for the action to start. And like I've said, I have watched the movies, but I do know that they are more different the more you get into the books and the series and whatnot. So yeah, I'm hoping to at least, I don't know if this is ambitious, hit the halfway mark tonight, maybe more.
I'm hoping to get to page
it's only 30.
200, at least. And then I'm also like reading this, and what am I reading?
Was in the Woods?
No.
Queen of Shadows?
Yes, Queen of Shadows. I wanted to say Air and Fire, but I knew that wasn't right. I'm reading that on my Kindle, so I've been like reading that right before I go to bed. Try to make a little by little progress while I'm reading this.
Yeah, I'm reading.
But it's February 6th, and neither one of us have completed a book.
I think it's
fine.
because I'm reading 3 things right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to focus on this.
Wait, 3?
Yeah, I'm reading this book, a Neck Alley arc called Murder Your Employer.
Oh, yeah.
And then I started, oh gosh, what is it called?
Oh, this.
A Curse for True Love.
Yeah.
The first book in the Entangled with Fae series, it's the Beauty and the Beast one. But he is like a wolf or something.
No?
So far, so good with that one. Everyone says you don't have to read them in order, by the way. I talked about these books in like our last videos. But there's like reoccurring characters, like the main girl in the Cinderella one, Ember is her name. She's a side character in the first book, and I'm like, and then the ending of the first book is spoiled in the second book, and I'm like, why is everyone acting like you don't have to read these in order? I wouldn't have liked this to be spoiled for me. So,
well, you
I guess this
is
is just like a weekly vlog overall, I guess, but with a twist. So yeah, that's what we're reading.
Lots of things.
In case you're wondering.
Maybe too many things at once, but it's fine.
It's currently Monday, February 6th, so we'll see what happens.
Maybe we can get done with these by the end of the day tomorrow. That's what I'm hoping.
Yes, I have literally no plans tonight. It's 8:30. Surely if I have enough lights on, I can stay awake.
Yeah. I just finished on Lonnie New at 8:30, so I'm good to go.
We should take shots of espresso. Okay. Let's do this. We back.
Check-in time.
I happily can say I am at 53%. And last night I said I want to get to 50. So I feel like that's progress because it's currently 7:15 and I've read nothing today, which is disappointing.
Really?
Yeah, I've just been doing school all day.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's the bad thing. Mom can just wake up and read, and I'm like, wow, that's such a nice start to your morning. I'm like,
but I'm downstairs an hour and a half before the rest of you.
Yeah.
So there is that. Could just get up early.
I was going to.
Yeah.
Anyways, I am on page 279 out of 488, I think it said. Yes. And I'm going to try to finish tonight because there's just like it's not hard to read. It's really easy to follow.
You already know the story.
Yeah, I already know the story. There's quite a bit of dialogue, I'd say. I feel like almost with this book, it's like a prequel to the series because there's not really much action, like as far as what continues plot-wise in the other books until the very end. So I feel like it's a little bit dragged out, like almost 500 pages for a YA dystopian. Not really necessary to me, unless there was more plot. I just honestly wish there was more plot, even though it is easier to read since there's not, but I feel like I'm almost bored. I don't know if that's because I know what happens, so I know like this many more things need to happen before it gets like snappy, but I don't know. I'll never know what I would think reading this without watching the movie, unfortunately, but I don't remember the second or third movie at all, so hopefully that'll help if I ever continue this series.
Okay. I am 57% done. I'm on page, this is my bookmark, it's a coaster. 224 out of 370.
80?
Sure, we'll say 380. I feel like this book is continually getting more and more creepy, but it's also, I don't know why I'm pulling this. It's also sad. So it's like a weird dynamic to have a book that's sad and creepy. Like those things usually don't go hand in hand. But there is, I will say, like maybe trigger warning for just loss and grief, especially the loss of a child, because there is like every main character in this story has experienced loss recently in their life. I have like something happened, I won't say what, but something happened, and like as soon as it did, I was like, I feel like I know where this is gonna go. So maybe I should tell Emmalynn off camera, and then I can come back and say if I was right or not.
Don't tell me. I want to read this.
Okay, I won't
just
tell.
think to
I'll
yourself.
just say if
I'll
say if I'm right or not. What else would I say about this? Yeah, it's just creepy. There is, like, if you're interested in reading this, I would say there is some paranormal, I don't want to say, it seems like there's going to be paranormal, like, tie-ins. I mean, it says it pretty closely, or pretty upfront in the story, so it's not really a spoiler, but there are, like, people who have the ability to see people who have died, so that is a pretty central theme in the story. But I would say it's just overall pretty creepy. I was telling my husband what it was about, and he was like, well, that's definitely gonna help you sleep good while I'm gone. But I'm like reading Queen of Shadows right before I fall asleep, so that's probably not like the best thing to read before you fall asleep either, but it's better than this, so.
It's not scary.
It's not scary, no. I mean, they're scary characters. Manon kind of scares me.
She's a boss.
But anyways, that's where we're at. Hopefully we'll finish this tonight, both of us.
Yes. I am trying to be confident myself. There's a few things I need to do first before I can sit down and read, but I'm going to try. Maybe I'll even listen to the audiobook. I've never listened to an audiobook, except once in my life, but I was like 10, so.
We both can't really do audiobooks. No. I wish I could. I feel like it would be really nice if I could. For some reason, I can listen to podcasts, but if I listen to audiobooks, I just kind of start like, my mind starts wandering and I feel like I'm
maybe it depends
focus.
on the genre. Like if
or
it's
the narrator, maybe.
Dialogue focus, it'd probably be easier. Or if there's more than one person voicing.
Also, I feel like audiobooks, you you still have to pay attention, so you can't be doing something that is taking your attention.
I just need to do laundry, so I was like, maybe.
Yeah?
Maybe I could listen while I do laundry. Got
Yeah, you don't really have to concentrate while you do laundry. Anyways, that's where we're at.
That's where Charlie's at.
Like, how many times can he move? Okay,
We're back again.
with a check-in.
Again.
So I finished The Winter People last night. I will withhold sharing my thoughts until the end of this video. But today I picked up my second book in this blind TBR challenge, and this is What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. This is the book that my husband chose, and it is going to be a wild ride, I think. It is really interesting so far because I think, like, I don't know, I shouldn't say all of them. This book at least is set in the Pacific Northwest, which is where we live right now.
He's inviting me. I'm sorry. He's just going after my hands.
He wants you to pet him.
But then he bites me.
Anyways, this book is set in the Pacific Northwest, specifically like the Olympic National Park, which is not terribly far from here. We've been there before. It also...
You are not the star, my guy.
It also talks about some other places that I'm familiar with, so I always find that really interesting when you're reading books about
Oh my god.
places you've actually been. But yeah, if you don't know, the premise of this story is basically these little girls play this game in the woods, and one day they're playing this game, one of them gets brutally stabbed, like I think over 17 times. It leaves her like scarred severely, like especially on her face and everything, but she miraculously survives the stabbings, and the girls collectively identify the person who committed the crime, only they lied. So this is going to perhaps tell the story of why they lied. Maybe they were trying to protect someone else, I don't know. But I think one of them like decides to tell the truth. And so things happen.
I don't have a lot to say because I haven't.
Oh wait, let me
Let
say. I have read 30, I'm on page 30, so I'm only very little into this.
I finished Divergent today. I actually listened to the last 50%, which I never ever do. Like, I just normally can't listen to audiobooks very well, but because I feel like it was just a dystopian rather than, you know, a fantasy in a world you can't imagine. I've seen the Divergent movies. It was just super easy to follow on because I already knew the main premise. So that made it easy to get through. And then tonight, if I can stay awake, and it's only 10 o'clock, hopefully I'll be starting Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. I've been telling myself I'm going to read this book for months, years, actually. I don't know why I haven't. I really don't, but I'm excited for the biking vibes. I'm very excited overall. So yeah.
What are you reading right now, Charlie?
Excuse her.
Her? What are you reading right now? What's on your TBR?
You.
Okay. We'll check back in after we've made some substantial progress. Probably.
Hopefully we do.
Hopefully tomorrow, but we'll see.
Every time we do one of these vlogs, we're like, this is the week to vlog. And it's never the week to vlog.
Yeah, it's like there's always like nothing, and then somehow all of this stuff like rapidly lines up, and we have something every day.
It's not good.
Anyways, we'll check back in with I've made progress. Back with our final thoughts.
I don't think I did a single check-in when I read this book because I completely forgot it was for this video and read it in like
Binged
24 hours. If that tells you anything about my feelings. Anyways, we'll start
in order.
Yes.
I'll go first. Okay. So first I read The Winter People, which my little Ellie picked out for me. And I'll just really quickly say some things that I liked and some things I didn't like. So what I liked was the dual timeline. I thought it was really interesting. It did get a little confusing at some points, but not enough to where I still couldn't follow the story just fine. Yeah, I liked the vibes of this. It was creepy. It was weird at times. So those were the things I liked. That's what I thought it was going to be like going in. I thought it would give village vibes, and it definitely did. There were some like pretty morbid things that happened. So I would say trigger warnings for like gore, violence, death, grief for sure, loss of a child. That was pretty, could be pretty triggering for some people, I guess. So the things that I didn't like was one thing, which is one thing, but it kind of, I don't know. The one thing that I didn't like was the ending. And it wasn't just the ending, like the very ending, although that is a big portion of it, but it just got like a little weird to the point of, I'm like, why are you guys doing these things? Like, this doesn't make sense to me. Like, you're trying to get out of a bad situation, and to me it was like they weren't thinking clearly to the point of like getting themselves into more of a predicament. So I didn't like that. And then the ending just didn't make sense, because it's like there's this bad thing that happens, and instead of like it being resolved, it's kind of like they're just gonna come to terms with it and deal with it for the rest of their lives, and that's the end.
That's kind of disappointing.
So I don't feel like there was like a resolvement in the problem. It was just like, well, this is our life now. And we're gonna pass it down to generations. So I didn't like that. I gave this, I think, a 3-star or maybe a 3.5. I did really like the writing though, and so I would read other books written by Jennifer McMahon.
Okay, the first book I finished was Divergent by Veronica Roth, and I gave this book 3 stars. It was meh.
What is meh? Meh or neh?
Both. Mid. There was good parts. I have confidence that the rest of the books are better, because this is... Ellie is sitting in the room and she's distracting me so much because she's making faces over everything I say, because this book is like her child. You probably would think she wrote it herself. Like,
no, I can write it better, sorry.
She's very attached to, I think, just 4.
Yeah,
if I'm being
for sure.
honest. 4 is better than Tris. I stand by that statement.
So true.
It had good moments for sure, but Triss as a character really bothered me. And for me, that's kind of why I just didn't like it, because she ruined the story because she's the main character. And she was just annoying. And I don't know what to say about her. I just didn't like her. Like, I would not be friends with her. If I knew her, I'd probably slap her. Be like, okay, we get it, but you're like the chosen one at this point, because this is the time period that was written in. Is the chosen one trope was just huge. So like, get it together. If I was Christina, I would have like shot her by now, you know? Christina is so much cooler.
Okay.
So
this book did cause you to kind of like cross a milestone in your life, which was audiobooks.
that's true. I was not sure where you were going. I listened to the last 50% because I was like, okay, this is going to be really easy to understand. And I actually listened to a lot of this book on audiobooks. So I guess this is...
It could like, it set the...
Yeah, I don't know. I thought I didn't like them, but the people that voice this book and that one, they didn't like try to have a guy voice or like do different voices for different characters, and I really appreciate that, because it was,
even though that's just too forced.
Yeah, even though it might be boring to some people, for me, I kind of liked that it was just a monologue, because it made it really easy to understand and just keep up with. So, I don't know, but I did enjoy listening to it over reading it, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I'll probably read the other ones eventually, just to say I did. But yeah, I need to stop now.
So whenever I'm finished reading a book, I kind of give it like my initial, you know, gut reaction rating. And then if I'm still thinking about this book like days later or even like weeks later, I'll usually go in and revise it. I will say this book I honestly haven't thought about once since I finished it. So that's why I left it at like a 3. I think I gave it a 3. But this book, I have thought about since I finished it. And let me just say, with all humility, that this book redeemed K. Alice Marshall for me. So I would say that makes this video just worth it in itself. This is her first adult book, so I could tell in her writing style that she was making a shift in the way that she was writing. But the thing that I liked about this book the most was just the different layers that kept getting peeled back throughout this book. Like, you thought you had uncovered the mystery, and then it was like, no, we have to peel back another layer. And then you thought you had figured it out from there, and nope, there was still more. So it was just like, almost like a slow burn mystery, I guess. But it didn't feel slow, which doesn't make sense. But it was like, it was slow in the layers peeling, but
slow enough that it was believable.
Yeah,
board.
yeah, exactly. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna figure all of this out within like a matter of a day. It was like a believable pace for an average human to be trying to figure out all of these different layers of trauma and betrayal and just, I don't know, violence and all kinds of bad things that had happened in her life. And I thought her character was also very believable in the way she was dealing with all of these things, and I appreciated that. So I gave this book 4 stars, and because of this book, I would pick up other things that she has written. So cheers to that.
You already talked about that one.
Not really. Not enough. I just said that I forgot to talk about it. So here it is now. She's getting her moment. And I would happily name my child Elin.
Well, there you go.
Book.
Carry on the E tradition in the family.
This was my last Adrienne Young book, okay? Technically, I have The Girl the Sea Gave Back, which I thought you had to read after this one, but I don't think you do because it doesn't even have to do with a side character. But, oh my gosh. It was so good. The only thing I didn't like is that it wasn't longer. Is that there isn't more books, and I'm just hoping, holding on to hope that she will one day come back to this story. I just feel like there's so much left to be discovered. It was so good. I don't know why I waited so long to read this, but my boyfriend is very proud of himself that he picked this book, even though I know it's my favorite author, so yeah, we'll give him the credit, I guess. But it was just so good. I don't even have anything to say except it was so good, and I'm still thinking about it. I'm still sad about it. It was very emotional, found family, but also found her family.
Yeah.
So
like, multiple.
Yeah, the romance was good. It was just, the character development was amazing. I just loved it. I don't know what else to say.
A moment for a Sky in the Deep, I
Oh, it was good. It was so good.
guess. Okay. So there you have it.
I'd say this was successful.
I do too.
This is something I've been meaning to read for a really long time, and now Ellie will get off my back about Divergent. So, a win-win situation.
Now Ellie needs to read some books so she can come back. Hang on, we have to say goodbye to them. Concludes our reading vlog. We hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey, Mom. Yeah. Bye-bye. Good luck.